everyone. Welcome to Inetta and Friends segment of Gullah Geechee Girls Cooking. We're in Charleston, South Carolina, and I am your host, Inetta, and this is our host,
Regina Scott Saunders.
And we're here at the Destiny Cafe on Dorchester Road in Charleston, South Carolina, and we're very excited to have with us today Rashonda Grant, or Lisa G. She's also known as Lisa G. to family and friends. She is a native of Charleston, South Carolina, and a 7th generation James Islander. After earning a spot as Master Chef Season 10, we are super excited to have her here. Semi-finalist. Rashonda attended the Culinary Institute of Charleston and worked as a head chef with Interstate Hotel Group, and now offers Gullah-inspired products and services. Let's welcome Lisa G. to Gullah Girls Cooking. Excited to have you so much.
Thank you.
First of all, before we get into this dish that you're going to make for us, and this is her version of shrimp and grits. And remember, we're in Charleston, South Carolina, so that is the staple of Charleston. The Low Country is shrimp and grits, but she's got a new spin on it, and it's called a fried grits cake. So tell us a little bit about, because you're much younger, how you got inspired with this tradition of cooking Gullah Geechee.
I think I've always cooked Gullah Geechee. I just didn't realize it until I got around people who were not Gullah Geechee.
Okay.
So it really wasn't until I went to college and I was around people that weren't from the coast. You know, my mother's family is from South Georgia. My father's family is from here in Charleston. Everybody I knew was Gullah Geechee.
Right.
But when I went there, I was around people from, like, one of my friends was from Missouri. I had friends from Ohio, Louisiana.
Nothing.
And there were Caribbeans and African friends. So it really was like, okay, so this is different. And I think that's really when I started to lean into the Gullah cuisine and really embrace it for what it was and kind of showing that off.
Right. So how exciting was it to be a semi-finalist on Master Chef? I mean, that had to be...
That was an experience of a lifetime. It literally changed my life. I was not a professional cook or chef before then. It was just a hobby. And ever since then, I have been...
And it took you... And it was the fried grit cake that we're going to make today that took you to
Got me all the way to Los Angeles.
All the way to Los Angeles, California with Gordon Ramsay, no less. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So... Regina, you had a question for Lisa, I think.
I do. Because Lisa is also family.
Hey, cousin.
By marriage. So I'm so proud of her. And so my question for Lisa, for our audience, is on the dish that you're making today. I wanted to know some of the... I know we got grits, but where grits come from? Because some people out of state, they say, what's a grit?
That is true. I definitely had a fight with a lot of Floridians about this. So grits are from corn. It's a dried corn mealed product. It's coarsely ground, and that's really all it is. I think in Europe, they grind it a little further down, and then they call it polenta. So, and to be honest, I think I borrowed a little bit from the tradition of doing, like, Italians will do a pan-seared polenta cake. So that's kind of where I got the idea from. But then, of course, I had to season it up and make it southern.
Put that Gullah on it.
Yeah, sprinkle that Gullah in for the culture.
Right. And remember that cooking Gullah Geechee is different. It's a different kind. It's a whole different culture. So pay attention, because anybody can do it, but anybody can't do it. You got to get it from an authentic dishes. And so this is one of those dishes that she created. So tell us, what's the first thing you do?
All right. So first things we do is we're going to make your grits. So we've got some water here. I'm going to go ahead and bring it up to a boil real quick. And once that gets going, we're going to add our grits in. Now for today, a lot of people will fight me on this. I'm using quick cooked grits.
We won't tell anybody if
So
you
we
won't.
won't tell. That's my little secret. But you absolutely can use stone mill grits. It'll take you a little bit longer on the cook time. But if you are in a hurry, I'm a young-ish young lady. I'm on the go. So I don't always have time to cook as long. So that's one of the tweaks that I've made is we're using a quicker cooking grate.
Right. Okay.
So you're going to bring our water up to a boil.
Okay.
And then we're going to stir in some grits. And it just depends on how much you're making. Read your package. Follow the instructions.
Yeah. A little bit of grits goes a long way.
It does. Yes.
Yeah.
So one of the things about me, which I've seen, a lot of people will like fight me on this technique, but you see, I'm stirring as I go.
Right.
And I continue to stir as I cook my grits. I know a lot of people will just set theirs down and set it in the pot, cover it, and walk away. Like they cook it like they cook rice.
Right, yeah.
So, that's not my
To
MO
me,
at
it
all.
gets lumpy if you don't continue to stir it.
I
Like that.
wholeheartedly and completely agree. So if you want to get technical, you want to up your game in the kitchen, stir the grits.
Okay.
That's also why you get the quick cook, because you don't want to sit here for an hour stirring.
Now, in the North, if they do cook grits, they don't add season to it like we do. Now, here, we add seasoning. I mean, even some put black pepper. Some people put hot sauce while it's cooking. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And now I'm going to save some of my seasonings just a little towards the end because I want to make sure I'm going to be adding some other things into this grits because that helps them for the grit cake. So you don't want to over salt or you want to over season because I can always add a little more if I need to, but I can't take it out.
You can't take it
once
out.
It's
Exactly.
in there.
Exactly. Yeah.
We're just going to let this go.
Right. Okay.
And let it come up to a boil for a little bit. And there it goes.
All right. So, and it's bubbling. It is
bubbling. It's bubbling. Quick grits.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with your grits, when you finish it, because with this particular recipe, can you use leftover grits?
You absolutely can. Now, the thing is, you don't want to wait until they get cold to start the grit cake process. Because one thing about grits is once they set, and a lot of people will, once they set up, they're pretty much set.
Right.
Now, I will say, with this recipe, I don't usually have leftover grits when I make them. People love them, and they're all gone. However, another cousin told me that she made this grits recipe and she was like, and it reheats really, really well. And I think a lot of that is due to the heavy cream that we're going to put in here and some of the other things we're going to put in there. That's what's going to make it, that's what helps it to like reheat so it's not just water. If you do just water in your grits, no, those are gone. There's a done.
Right.
All right. Now, and these are the things that are going to help it form into a grit cake. So I've cooked my grits. Normally, you'd be done. You'd stop here.
Right.
We are not stopping.
No. Right.
So now that they're cooked, we're going to go in with some heavy cream.
We're not cooking healthy. We're cooking
We're
good.
We're not.
It's not healthy cooking
This
today.
is a full fat heavy cream.
Yeah, fat. All fat.
All right. And then we're going to let this cook down a second time. That's also going to make our grits nice and tender so that they don't get too
creamy.
hard.
Yeah.
That heavy cream just makes them, they're going to melt.
Oh, it smells amazing already. I mean, and you got to love grits to be from the South. You got to love grits.
All right. And then I'm going to go in with some butter. Woo. Yeah.
Because butter makes everything better.
Butter makes it better. Butter makes it better.
It is. Looks
and
amazing.
We're stirring that in. And then the last thing that I'm going to add, well, not the last thing I'm going to add, but the last thing that I'm adding to this for now is some mild cheese. So I'm not adding a whole lot, but I do want it to get nice and cheesy. And what's going to happen is when this sets up to make our grit cake, that cheese is going to help it form.
Help it stay together.
All right. So we can cut this heat down. Because that's it.
So this is going to be a savory dish.
This is absolutely savory.
Right.
Grits should always be a savory dish.
People add sugar. Don't write us. Don't write us. But I mean, it's a law against putting sugar in grits.
Not here.
People do it.
If you want to do it, add it to your cream of wheat, add it to your oatmeal, but don't do it to your grits.
No.
Okay. So now I'm going to season mine up. So I've got some granulated garlic here, some garlic powder.
Wow. Oh, gosh.
So we're going to give it all the love. We're giving it all the love
in there, yeah.
I got a little onion powder.
It's important in Gullah Geechee to add your seasoning.
You got to season it.
Have to be seasoned. Yeah.
And then I have another seasoning blend here. It's one of my favorites. If you know me, you already know what it is. I'm not gonna say the name.
I know what it looked like.
You know, right?
I know what it look like, young people.
Ask me a question, I can tell you. All right. And so we're just gonna go ahead and stir that in there. And that's a seasoning blend. It's got onion, it's got garlic, it's got a little parsley, some oregano. So that's gonna add a lot of flavor. And it also has some salt.
Okay.
And then
it smells so
Yes.
good.
yeah,
Doesn't it? Oh wow.
and now you're smelling the love. And then we're gonna add just a little bit of salt because I already put some in there, but I've made this 1,000 times. I know it needs a little more.
Yeah.
And that's just some pink Himalayan sea salt. So we made it a little healthy. Yeah. We made it a tiny bit healthy. All right. So right now, if you just wanted the best darn grits of your life, you can eat these. You can pour these on a plate and have yourself a grand time.
Yes.
But to make our fried grit cake, we are going to transfer this into a mold, and you can use any kind of pan you want. I like this one. If you're using a metal pan, line it with a little parchment paper, but with a glass or Pyrex, our grit cakes are going to come right out.
Okay.
So I just pour it in here.
You hear that, y'all? Tips. Write those tips down.
That's right. That looks so. I can eat that just like that.
You too?
Yeah,
I'm sitting while she's doing it. I'm sitting up here like.
Look, if I had a spoon, I would let you taste it.
Yeah, like Grandma used to let me lick the spoon.
Here you go.
I'm gonna burn myself.
You will. These grits are hot.
Grits, I'll tell you.
And then we're gonna take this. So now that we've got that, we've got our yummy, mild, cheesy grits, and we are gonna set this in the fridge, and you're gonna let it cool for at least 4 hours.
Okay.
Overnight if you can.
Okay.
If you're in a rush, pop it in the freezer.
Day before prep.
Day before prep, or at least a couple hours before. So this is a great dish if you've got company coming. You don't want to be slamming on yourself. Go ahead and do this.
That would
pop
be
it in ahead
something
of
different,
time.
like for appetizers. It would be perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can make them smaller. I bet that's good. I know it is good. I know it is. I know it is.
All right. So we're gonna do a little TV magic here.
Okay.
All right, so this one I have is already set up. It's nice and firm. You can see.
Oh wow!
It's not moving.
Oh yeah, right.
So this, you know, and if you leave this on the stove long enough, it'll do the same thing.
Absolutely.
We've seen that before.
That's grits.
That's grits. And you know what's funny? That's how my grandfather used to love his grits.
Yeah.
My grandma would purposely leave them in there and let them get cold. And my granddaddy didn't like grits if he couldn't cut it with a knife or fork.
Yeah.
That's how he liked his grits. So shout out to granddaddy for the other inspiration.
Yeah.
And then from here is where we make our grit cakes. Now I'm doing them square because I have a rectangle pan. But if you want to get cute, Valentine's Day is coming up. You can make some little heart shapes.
Mold. Yeah.
You can make little circle shapes.
Yes.
So you can have some fun with it if you've got different things happening. You can make letters.
Yeah.
Make a little I love you.
Yeah. Do molds. And stuff like that. There's all kinds of ways you can do.
All right. So we just made them, and we've got them nice and evenly cut.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
They're just gonna scoop them out.
It's a pretty little grit cake.
And so they stay pretty together, but because we're going to fry them, they're going to heat back up, and then they'll spread back out.
Right,
so the trick is what we call standard breading procedure. It's fancy chef talk.
So we have a professional here.
So we're going to do a little bit of flour, we're going to do a little bit of eggs, and then a little bit of breadcrumbs.
Okay.
So I'm going to take that out for a second. Okay. Give that a nice good whisk.
Okay. And since our grits is already seasoned, we don't have to season any of the
right.
You don't have to, but we always gonna season a little more. We're always gonna season a little more. I like to season that breadcrumb layer, and I'm gonna just give that a little zhuzh with my hands. Because that's the part that's going to hit your tongue first.
Right.
So you want to make sure you've got a little bit of salt there. And we can sprinkle a little salt there too.
Yeah,
a little bit of... Okay. Okay. Here you go.
Then we'll just scoop it right on out.
Yeah.
See, that's what you gotta do. That grandmama.
Yeah, that's why you gotta see.
Yeah.
All right. That's why I didn't win, Mr. Chef.
That's good.
Rookie mistakes. Rookie mistakes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. She's gonna dip it in the flour, dip it in the egg, and dip it in the breadcrumbs. And when we come back, you're gonna see one that's already fried up. We'll be right back.
All right.
Join Inetta and friends every Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And welcome back to our Inetta and Friends segment of Gullah Geechee Girls Cooking. We have our special guest today, Rashonda Lisa G. She is a Master Chef semi-finalist for season 10, and she is preparing for us today grit cake. So,
yes. So, well, my question today for Lisa is, how did it feel competing against your locals right here in town for Master Chef? How did it feel, and how did you prepare? Did you know? Did they just say, come on, you got 24 hours to be ready?
So what happened, the way it started was they had open auditions in Charleston. They did like 10 cities around the nation. And a friend of mine actually sent me the invitation on Facebook, and she was like, you should audition for this. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you're so sweet. Aw, thank you, girl. And then a former coworker sent me the link as well and said, you should audition for this. And I was like, thank you. You're the second person who's told me this. And the auditions were on a Saturday. I didn't have anything else to do. So it was like, well, what are you going to make? And I was like, they're coming to Charleston. Everybody's going to be doing shrimp and grits, but they're coming to Charleston. You got to do shrimp and grits.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, how can I make mine different? What can I do to make it unique? What can I do to make it a more personal? So I think this really tapped into a lot of the things that my style of cooking, that's a spin on very traditional dishes and giving them a little refresh, a newer take.
Well, take us through the front portion. We've already made the grits.
So we've made our grit cake. We let this set, let it get nice and cool, and then we're going to bread it. And this is what we call our standard breading procedure. So we got some plain flour here, all-purpose flour. I've got some eggs that I just scrambled up really quickly. And then I've got some breadcrumbs that we tossed in a little bit of seasoning and a little bit of salt.
Right.
So we're going to get our grit cake out. We're going to go flour, eggs, breadcrumb, and then into the frying pan.
Okay.
So we're going to try to work quickly.
Right.
And if your grits kind of start to fall apart, that's okay. Yeah, mush them back into place, but that's also why we're doing this breading procedure, because that's going to help keep all of those grits in and make a nice thick coating so they don't spill out into our grease.
Right. That looks, the grits like that, to me, I can eat it just like that. You know, put a couple of scrambled eggs on top of it and go to town.
Good eating.
Absolutely. And you certainly could. So I have seen some higher end restaurants that do like a cold grit service.
Yeah.
Or not so much a cold grit service, but like they've got cold grits.
Cold grits, yeah, it is.
As an appetizer or an amuse-bouche.
Right, yeah.
So we're going to
it's a delicacy here. And we've got a cast iron skillet, of which I love. Yes. That's almost a staple in the Southern kitchen.
It is. I tell people all the time, you want to buy me a gift, find me a good cast iron skillet.
Good cast iron skillet.
And that's the funny thing, because like, for me, I don't think the best cast iron can't be bought. Like you gotta get that from grandma.
It has to be seasoned.
You gotta if you are. I think that was probably the best gift I got. Was like somebody saw fit to give me one of my grandma's cast iron skillets when she passed.
Exactly.
That's how you know you're fit.
The older it is, the better it is.
That seasoning on there is nice and thick.
For people who don't know what we're talking about, because there's some people going, what do you mean season a cast iron? They don't know. It's like when you cook in it for a while, a brand new cast iron skillet is not going to get the food. It's not going to be right. You gotta cook in it for a while. It's gotta be seasoned. You don't you take it and you oil it down. You put it in the oven and you season it. You oil it down. You put it back in the oven and you season it. And then after a while, it gets like this, and you know it's ready to cook in. Yeah, it's ready.
And I found out with the cast iron skillets, the mineral and that's in it, it actually goes into the food and it goes back into you. So it's actually healthy for you.
Exactly.
So when I found that out later in life growing up, I was like, so why did we do away with cast iron skillets? And then, you know, the
well, they went to stainless steel.
And then they went to the ones
and the non-stick and the Teflon.
Teflon.
And then they found out the non-stick can give you different types of ailments and Alzheimer's and stuff.
And it was the cast iron that was the best all along.
All along. So why did we? Didn't need to change
You know
it.
why? Because people stopped cooking and Grandma quit passing it down. They said, y'all don't deserve these good cast iron skillets.
So this is frying up beautifully.
Yes.
I love the way
I'm
that
going to
looks.
take these gloves off.
Yeah, I love the way that looks. These would make perfect appetizers.
Oh yeah,
They
nice
absolutely
brunch, right?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite things to make for brunch, especially if I'm having friends over. But then the other good thing you can do is if you want it to be, because we're going to top ours with the shrimp and sausage gravy, but you can add some more things in here. So if you want to add a little bit of chopped sausage, you want to add some bacon, maybe some ham, mix all those fun things in there, and then let them set. And then you really just have like a yummy grit bite. And you can probably even cut them a little smaller, but you know,
that's it.
We don't do things small.
Yeah.
Well, where is faith in your journey?
I think, okay, so my grandfather was a pastor in the AME church. My father was also a pastor in the AME church. So a lot of the food that if I wasn't eating at home on a Sunday, which was rare that we got to eat at home on Sundays, it was usually some of the ladies in church that were cooking. And because I was young and our churches weren't the country, like our churches are very rural, so we were a little far out. So I was always watching. So even if it wasn't necessarily something that maybe my grandmother would have made, I was picking up dishes from some of our parishioners, some of the people that attended church. So I was just always watching, always learning. Probably where I ate coon for the first time.
Yeah, we're in Charleston, South Carolina.
We didn't get coon here in Charleston,
good coon,
but I got that coon. It was
AKA raccoon.
Raccoon
in Charleston.
I did not eat the raccoon in Charleston. Don't put that on us Charleston people. That church was out in Jasper County.
It tastes like roast beef.
And that's what it was. She made it, and you know, you want to be a good preacher's kid. You're always grateful and appreciative that someone took time to make you a hot cooked meal. You know, gratitude, positive attitude.
Church is important. Everything here centers around church.
It really does.
Charleston is called the Holy City. And for those of you who don't know what AME is, that's African Methodist Episcopal Church. And they're prevalent. This is where the AME church started in this area. So that's very important to us as well. So yeah, you were definitely a PK.
PK twice over.
Yeah.
So that's nothing. You got to be able to cook because you're feeding the pastor. Now. You can't come home and have him slacking off.
That was it. The pastor came over for dinner. That was just the thing. Yeah. But no more. Those look so good.
I like the little shapes too.
That's grits.
And
so these are grits in here.
During the break, you told me about some other little shapes we could do.
Absolutely. So Valentine's Day is coming up. You want to make a little something special for your husband. Shout out to Kevin. Have her make Kevin. Have her make you cut out some little hearts. Maybe a little I love you. You can make names and initials. We just did squares, but you really can have fun with it as much as you want. Just get some cookie cutters or some biscuit cutters and go. So we've got our fried grit cakes here. And you can top these with pretty much anything. Since ours are plain, I actually, when I auditioned for MasterChef, I did 3 different ones. So I did a trio of grit cakes. I had one that had a shrimp and sausage gravy. I had one with a bacon jam and green tomato relish.
Oh my goodness.
And then I had a third one with Charleston style rice pudding. For those of you who don't know, that is a spicy sausage. We'll talk more about it.
You can get mild.
You can get mild. You can't get mild. But it is a meaty sausage, very much like boudin that you would find in New Orleans. And then I topped it with an egg. And I have all 3 of those for y'all to try.
All right. It is wonderful. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
That looks
Look at that.
delightful.
That is
oh, grit cakes, y'all. Grit cakes.
grit cake.
Fried grit
That
cakes,
is
3
amazing.
ways.
This
Three
was
ways.
the dish that got her on MasterChef semi-finalist season 10.
Yes.
Amazing.
Amazing. Yes.
That is so much creativity. And the thing about that, interesting, you were telling us that you have not, when you went on MasterChef, you didn't have any formal training.
Not a
Just
bit.
just family cooking, good foods, That is amazing.
Yes.
Well, this has certainly been a treat to have
Yes.
you on today
Mhm.
and show us
Mhm.
the dish that took you to MasterChef semi-finalists. It's been amazing. A southern dish, a southern staple, but you took it up to another level. That is
Yes.
absolutely amazing. Now, give them your website. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, how would they do it?
You can find me online at thecarolinacookery.com or on Facebook, Instagram at The Carolina Cookery.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yes.
We are here at the Destiny Cafe in Charleston, South Carolina, where the proprietor is my co-host, Miss Regina Scott
Saunders.
Regina Saunders.
Yes.
Regina Scott Saunders.
Because we just had this whole Gullah Geechee discussion.
Yeah, got 3 or 4 names up
how
here.
we have different names.
That would do it. That would do it.
But anyway, she's here on Dorchester Road in Charleston, South Carolina.
Yes.
And we thank you so
y'all
very much
Thank y'all.
for letting us come into your kitchen and cut and look at what you have done and how you have been so creative in everything. I mean, it's just amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much
Thank
for joining
y'all.
us. And we'll see you next time on our Inetta and Friends segment of Gullah Geechee Girls Cook.